And with that all being said, hello everyone to the first Sunday episode of the AWKWARDCast.
Nice try, sweetie, but without the live signal, nothing is going to happen.
Oh, okay.
Also, only I have this power. Hello and welcome everybody to the AWKWARDCast. Well, it didn't work. There it is. This was not
this is
fair.
A great show right now.
This live sign is working against me. AY Keyframe one about random dribble for the 17th time on a Sunday for the first time. Oh, this is a great start. This is a
It's a beautiful, beautiful start to what is sure to be not a dumpster fire of a podcast.
Oh, yeah, and because we both are absolutely energetic and full of energy and totally not tired today.
Yeah, totally woo. I have a Scooby. Does that count as energetic? Yeah.
Anyways, we probably should keep this thing going. What might be the keyframe? Do you want to share what might be the reason, what happened recently to cause this dynamic duo in here?
Sure thing, Maxie dear. So, last week,
yesterday.
Fast backward to last week, it was this dude's birthday. Hooray! But the thing was, he had to work the entire weekend of his birthday, which is just the best present that you could ever get. So, we did like a drinking party for Ninja on his birthday and stuff.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. So A and Y thought, what's a great idea? Let's get drunk again. So he planned a call for this weekend on Saturday. So we had A and Y, of course. We had me. We had Kichi, Denim Ninja, British Ninja, who was sick. Poor boy.
But he was looking good with his new webcam.
Zach and Chuggle were kind of off doing a bowling thing. No one cares.
They joined later. I hope you can remember that they still joined.
They joined later, but they weren't there for the beginning. And we had other people there. Eventually, Jim Fear joined us. Be jealous. And we had this. Some of us got sloshed. Some of us got pleasantly buzzed, and then you have A and Y who can go through 2 bottles of wine like nothing.
I still have them here. So I started with 2 full bottles and there's basically 1 glass left in the second one.
I had 1 full bottle of wine that was basically as tall as those, and yeah, I mean I didn't get as sloshed as I did for Ninja's party, but I mean that's not wrong.
I mean, yeah, because you limited yourself to something with a more healthy amount of alcohol, aka wine, and not spirits. Spirits go bad very quickly.
I mean, yeah, bad being a relative term. Either way, we played Invisiguns for a bit. We found out none of us can play Invisiguns drunk, except for A and Y.
Anybody records the actual gameplay?
No, we thought you were recording it, man.
No, I explained multiple times, guys. I'm recording the call. I can't record the gameplay.
Well, I guess we'll never know.
So basically the only part from yesterday evening that could actually be released to the public is not recorded. Good job.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't do it. I don't have any of that kind of stuff on my computer. But, yeah, we just all rambled about stuff. I think what was great is that after you left and you went to bed, me and Jim had a very long and pleasant, I'm going to make a preface, discussion about North Korea.
What the hell?
We were talking about North Korea and how they will, and how the possibilities of war and the difference between this and the Cold War back in the day. We were having some pretty good discussions while sloshed. And then it was, and we also talked we talked about the Mandela effect while you were there, but it wasn't like a super blowout party or anything. It was just the shirtless squad came back.
Obviously.
Solar dive bombed into his bed.
Did he?
For the first time, I actually had a camera during these things. Now we know why I don't. Not going to explain why, but I was able to balance a lit candle on my hip, drunk. While that is, if that's an achievement or something, well, you guys can decide whether it be an achievement or just being stupid. Probably both.
I mean, to be fair, Kichi also balanced a burning candle on her hip, so...
Yeah, because we both have hot hips.
It was a group effort.
Yes. Well, I did it first. She only did it because I was doing it. I was the trendsetter. She was the
burn.
Follower. Literally. Hey! Oh, we were all able to finally do finger guns on camera together. That was great. But yeah, the thing is, the evening wasn't like different big events. It was just a bunch of small conversations and stuff. But it was a pleasant experience all around.
And there was a hat moment where everybody was wearing silly hats.
Yeah, because I think it was because one of us was talking about, I said how I collected hats that looked like animals back in the day, and then Denim had one that was like a panda or something, and then it just grew from there. And then you had your Gandalf hat, and then you had a World War I German soldier outfit on.
It happens.
ANY tried to balance a guitar on his hip while lying on that table. That didn't end well.
No. My hips are just not a great place to balance stuff. Like,
you don't have a lot of meat there. You gotta have some meat on your bones to be able to hold things up on them, honey.
I guess.
I'm sorry. You have to live a life of lean muscle and chiseled features. How terrible for you.
I know. It's a curse.
What other things happened?
Did we do anything else yesterday?
No, because that's the thing. There wasn't any huge standout moments. It was just a pleasant evening with friends.
That's true. So
Which
that's the thing.
I'd rather have than have a bunch of blowouts. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I guess we wouldn't have stayed there for so long if we didn't enjoy it. I mean, for me, it was like close to 7 hours because I must have been gone to bed like 6:45 in the morning, and we started at midnight my time. So
Chuggle apparently has said that he saw much more of ANY than he wanted to that night, and that's because very early you switched from your shirt to just the denim jacket and nothing else.
It was very hot in here. I mean, no surprise with me present.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah, I know. But this was actually the second Drunken get-together I had this week, because on Thursday we had a big team event from the company. Which was basically getting there in the morning at 9 or something, 9 a.m. We all went into big buses, drove out there, countryside, where there is a location for water skiing, like one of those artificial thingies where you have a contraption that pulls you across the lake. Yeah, I know what that is. Yeah, but I mean, normally water skiing should be behind a boat, but this is basically the not coastal lake.
This is the lake equivalent.
Indeed. And so we went to this place before. So it wasn't the entire day water skiing. It was first we had some kind of company Olympics. So where we basically we arrived there at 11 and obviously started with beer instantly. Company event.
Of course.
So we had those. Some physical, some mental challenges while being drunk, which was fantastic, like tag of war and holding a stein of beer as long as possible. Those kind of challenges.
That sounds amazing.
It was quite fun. The team we have been in was also. We had a good time. I believe we didn't make it on the second on the little thingy for the first 3 places. What's it called?
Yeah, the little platform thing.
Yeah, we didn't make it there. Actually, we only won 1 out of 4 games. So, but we still had a good time. Was the important part. And after lunch, it was like water skiing, and well, first attempt I was like whoop in the water. Second one I actually managed to do. This is the hardest part. When it starts, you need to get standing on your skis once, and then you are mostly good. Because what the instruction guy said in the beginning was like, okay, once you stand, like put your weight to the front and blah blah blah, blah, and be careful when you get to the turns.
The turn.
Yeah. You have to drive as far outside as possible, because otherwise the line, when there is this big wheel on top where the line gets transferred from one direction to a different direction, there will be a short moment where it goes slack, and then instantly refocuses, re-stretches, whatever. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, first turn, I go outside, yeah, easier. Next one, easy, yeah. And I was like, yeah, it's fun. This is like, oh, there's another one. And I was like, tuk. It went slack just as the guy said, and I'm like, uh-oh. In a second there will be the woof. And it completely, it was just one intense moment of force, and I was like pulled off my skis, and there went my one successful attempt. I tried it once more, but the problem was were too many people doing it, so you were not able to basically do turn after turn in order to get a routine. So the third one ended with me instantly falling before I even got to standing, and I was like, okay, because at this point I started to hurting. I had a little bit of problems with my
your wrist.
Yeah, with my wrist, and I kind of got a cut or something here on the finger. So I was like, okay, I had my one turn that worked. Let's call it a day for now. So I stopped with water skiing, and actually, then there was some kind of nothing planned part, but somebody bought a bunch of board games. So there were a few. We played a few turns of Jenga, which was fun. I later even entered a group of Never Ever. Mm-hmm. And Never Ever, it just went as you would expect it goes with inebriated adults.
Oh god.
Yeah, we basically, okay, to explain the rules of Never Ever are that it's a drinking game, and the question is like, when it's your turn, you are like, I never ever went to the zoo, and everybody, including the person who said it, needs to drink if they actually did go to the zoo at some point. So you actually can say something you did, and you drink for yourself. This is some kind of rule to make it. If you have too many people who have done too much stuff, you will not be able to say anything.
I can just imagine in which direction these things went.
Absolutely. This very direction, not very PG.
Not Twitch friendly.
Nope, probably not.
It's what happens when ANY goes off the camera to behind the chat screen levels of bad.
Let's just say a few of my colleagues have become a lot more sympathetic in my eyes.
Oh boy!
Knowing the crazy shit they do, or did, or have ever, never done, whatever. But beyond that, not much happened last week, and as Keyframe correctly said, I had to stay at work because we had the final conclusion of a big 1.5 year long project.
Oh boy, that.
We were preparing a big system change, and this weekend, or last weekend, was the weekend where we actually pulled the switch and changed from one system to another one, and it went well. I mean, obviously there have been issues. This kind of like life lesson for everybody who had never been part of a big project. It never goes smooth. There will always be issues, but the issues we had were all like superficial, nitpicky. Nothing exploded, and it was like we were holding our breath for like Monday, Tuesday, but on Wednesday we were like, okay, it went well. It went well.
I'm just glad that it did because I've known you for so long. I remember hearing about this thing ever since it was first implemented. Because the backstory, the whole reason why he wasn't going to go to like Pacific PonyCon or BabsCon of that year, and you went to Nightmare Nights instead, was because we didn't know what was going on with this fucking software change.
Yeah, exactly. But now it is finally
you
finished.
Weren't able to go to BronyCon because of it, which is it's over. It's over and it's good.
It's over, isn't it? Isn't it over? But yeah, yes. Now the fun only begins, because now that it is finally implemented, we have to do our usual job as system administration and build more stuff for the system and help people work with it and. So yeah, thankfully it's never really over, because otherwise I wouldn't have a job anymore. Thanks to that I was not in the cinema. I mean, it has turned a little bit ever since I got my cinema card, with which I get movie of the weeks, which are like super cheap compared to normal prices, or special offers with popcorn to the card with the card. I started going very regularly to the cinema, but also no cinema last week, so I missed my chance to watch. What was it last week? The Assassin's Bodyguard, the Murderer's Bodyguard, whatever, the Sniper's.
The Bodyguard.
Yeah, whatever. With basically Wolverine and with Samuel L. Jackson and Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds as a straight guy who is a bodyguard for hitmen. There it is. Thank you, Katarina. And Samuel L. Jackson is a hitman who got a bodyguard for reasons. I don't know. This is as much as I know from the trailer. But yeah, didn't get to see this one. Heard by now that it was quite nice popcorn. So nothing special. I mean, yeah, you hear the plot synopsis and you know that it's just silly action popcorn.
Yeah, you can kind of tell by the description. I don't know. Small tangent, because this podcast is garbage. I wanted to get one of those cinema cards because I know what those cinema cards are to get discounts and stuff, but it's just like, maybe I'm just boring. Barely any movies really get me to want to go to a movie theater to go watch them. I don't know why, because it's like the only movies I'm excited to see come out this year that I know that are coming out is freaking Thor Ragnarok's coming out this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it? Yeah, Thor Ragnarok. Coco, the new Pixar movie, and Justice League. That is all that I want to see, and all of those are like months apart from each other.
Yeah, then there's also the next Star Wars. We just had Homecoming. Atomic Blonde was pretty amazing.
Oh wait, then the Last Jedi is coming out this year? I thought it got pushed back.
Nope. If it has been pushed back, I don't know. But my last note was December. So. God
damn it! Why can't it be in November so we can all go see it at EQLA instead of just League?
But yeah,
I want to go.
I actually have to say that 2016 and 2017 have been good for movies. Yeah.
Not good for the movies that I like. So it's like, I'm a huge animation nerd, and animated movies haven't been that great in the past 2 years, at least in quantity and quality.
Yeah, I guess that's a fair thing to say. But yeah, basically, okay. This week's special movie would have been Atomic Blonde, but I already saw it. So let's see what's there next week. Even though we already have plans the next Skype call for next week, thanks to Emerald's birthday. So
we can't get drunk every week.
Obviously we can. So this might be the downside of moving this cast to Sundays, that the probability of us being like
can't we just take Emerald's birthday and Kichi's birthday and group them all together 2 weeks from now?
Why?
Because then we can drink. Look. No, listen to my plan. If we have 2 birthdays at the same time that we're celebrating, we can drink twice as much.
I'm not entirely sure if I want that.
Just follow
4 bottles of wine in one evening sounds like a death sentence.
I mean, it is, but it is.
Yeah, no, I would rather like let's make it a weekly thing. Also not the best prospect. I will admit this.
Do we need more drunk frame in this world? I think we do.
Well, but yeah,
I guess we move on to media.
Yeah, I guess we can move on to the media. So, you want to go first?
Yes. So, Will's boo Katie gave me her Netflix password.
Ba, ba, ba.
So I've been watching way too much Netflix, and it's probably healthy. Mostly movies, and most of them have been crappy Disney sequels because they don't have the original movies on there. So like, because I've watched I watched Joseph King of Dreams again, just so I can remember how bad it is. I got Brett to watch it, and Brett kind of was sitting there like, why does Max hate this movie so much? It's so harmless. It's kind of cute. And I'm like, no, it is the exact opposite of these things.
It's insulting stupid.
I mean, I'm not the. I told him I can't articulate why he dislikes the movie. He can only do that. But yeah, I watched that. I tried giving some of the Netflix shows a chance. I was basically just waiting for stuff before BoJack came out. I tried watching, because DreamWorks has a lot of Netflix series based on their movies, and they've had a Netflix series based off the movie Home. It's okay. It's a very endearing show. Like it's not great. It's kind of like Star versus the Forces of Evil without the overarching story and the magical girl stuff. But it's like there's something about it.
What's left after that?
Energetic, loud people. But it's cute. I think that's just the biggest compliment I can give it. I watch it when I'm feeling sad because there's something about the positivity in the show that's kind of contagious. And then I tried to give the Peabody and Sherman show a chance. I couldn't get through the first episode. It was so shitty.
That's a scientific dog, isn't it?
Yes, that's a scientific dog. And in the show, he's the only compliment I will give it. In the show, he's voiced by the guy who plays Jerry from Rick and Morty, and that made me happy. Because finally, a guy with this smart-sounding voice actually plays a character that is smart. Because I've noticed this actor plays a lot of dumb characters because he plays Jerry and he plays this Cyril in Archer, and none of them are smart characters. But he sounds smart and eloquent and very classy. And then you play that. But no, oh my god, this Peabody and Sherman show is shit. It's like they made it into a talk show format. So like, kind of like James Corden or David Letterman or something like that. And the entire, it's interspliced between segments of them in this talk show thing, and then the actual Peabody and Sherman time travel stories like they had back in the 60s. And it's like, this could work, because there's been shows that makes this kind of doing a late night show format work in animation. I mean, House of Mouse and stuff. But this was just garbage. But then there was something that was not garbage. And that's season 4 of BoJack Horseman.
Oh yeah, and I have also a nice screen cap just for you. Oh.
Why, Max? I've known you for almost 4 years now. I thought we've had a good friendship. Why do you do this? Is this a sign of our friendship, or is this a sign you want to end our friendship?
It's dentist clowns. It's a brilliant idea.
Shut up, Todd. You don't know any good ideas.
Fine.
Good. That's better. But no, season 4 of BoJack.
Do I have to put on the alarm signs?
Yes, I think you do. I'm not going to go into too badly spoiler, but it's going to have spoilers.
Okay, fair enough.
But yes, season 4 of BoJack. I would say it's now my favorite season of BoJack. Each season of BoJack to me has gotten better and better, and this has not stopped with season 4. This was the season that's actually hit me the hardest compared to the other seasons. I don't know why, but maybe it's something that happened in my life over the hiatus between the BoJack seasons, but I connected a lot more to BoJack in this season than I did previous seasons.
I guess I can put it actually into one word, because there was one overarching theme in this newest season, which was not a constant theme in the last one, or any of the last ones, namely family. It was all about family. I mean, it was. Well, we have the spoiler signs on, so
we can just talk. I mean, oh my goodness,
with Princess Caroline, with Peanut Butter and the marriage.
Yeah. Just saying, they pulled a fucking How I Met Your Mother on us with that Princess Caroline episode.
The Princess Caroline episode was the one episode this season which really left me like gut punch.
Like choked up.
Yeah, totally. Like choked up. That's the thing. Usually, this is the thing I recall, that especially the season's finale of BoJack from the first 3 seasons left me like completely shell-shocked, choked up, like, oh my god, I'm done with the world, I can't go on.
Yeah. Call this your BoJack depression, dearie.
Yeah, indeed. This time the finale, without saying anything, actually didn't do this to me for once. But this one episode, whoa. But here's the thing, in the middle of the season, it's like you're sitting there, shell-shocked, but then the next episode already starts, and that's basically how you get through this, and why the season finales have such a bigger impact, if they have an impact.
Yeah, like, the Princess Caroline episode, Christ almighty. Because, the thing was, I think, because I was by myself in the house when I was binging the whole season, because Will's been gone and Brett went to his parents and stuff to do things, and so I'm watching this, and that episode ends, and I think I think my neighbors heard me. I just yelled, "They pulled a fucking How I Met Your Mother on me! Fuck you!" Because there was that one episode of How I Met Your Mother where Robin was saying, "How did I meet your father?" And then you find out Robin's never able to have children. So the entire episode was her talking to herself. And then I'm like, fuck, they did this with BoJack, and better. No, the episode that got me was the episode right before the finale, where it was BoJack and his mom. I never thought you can make his mom a sympathetic character, because I hated his mom. But Christ, that ending, to give people context, it took me 3 tries to get through the episode. I could not go through the episode the whole way through for the first 2 times because I was so like, it felt uncomfortable to watch because of how real it felt. And then there is no, I think BoJack is actually the show that I think has best displayed a visual representation of what dementia, Alzheimer's, that kind of losing your mind and memories and everything melding together actually probably is. And that was terrifyingly. But the finale actually made me feel happy.
Yeah.
And I felt happier because peanut butter is. Because I'm glad that Diane does not deserve Mr. Peanut Butter at all. I hate Diane, and this season made me hate her even more.
Mr. Peanut Butter is too good for this world character.
He is, and so is Todd, and I like Todd, and I felt good that Todd was getting development in this season too.
Even though after the initial development, he kind of plateaued.
Yeah, I just like the fact that, well, he's one of those characters, he doesn't need major development. He was already a good character.
He already was perfect.
He already was. But no,
Hooray!
Hooray! But no, like, the thing is, let me just say about Diane, there's very few animated characters I dislike more than Star from Star vs. the Forces of Evil. Diane is one of those characters. I liked her in the first season, but she's become such a Tumblr feminist that I know that's the point. I know this is what they're doing, and they're doing a good job at it. But they're doing too good of a job at it because I can't stand when episode plots are about her. Because every time I look at her, I'm just like, I want to punch you. Because that ending scene in the finale of Diane and Peanut Butter, it's just like, you are a bitch. What is wrong inside your head that this person does something nice for you that you explicitly say that you want, and then you get mad at them? It's like, I hate people like that. It's like, don't explicitly say you want something, and then when someone gives it to you, you get angry. It's like, she needs therapy. That's what she needs. But BoJack I love it. Clown Dentist, though, can go fuck off. Go away. Please, go on to your media that doesn't involve clown dentists.
I will try. So, back to normal mode for the moment. Yeah, so actually, many media.
Put away the clown dentist, Max.
Okay, I actually have multiple media this week, but I want to only touch deeper on one of them. So let's get the smaller ones out of the way quickly. I also watched Netflix.
Oh God, this. I hate this.
But yeah, I don't really have too much to say to it, what other people haven't already said about it. So I will put a link in the description to, I would say, the Wisecrack video on why it didn't work, as well as the Dom's review. The Dom is, by the way, a very fun channel I can recommend in general. But let me put this down before I forget it, because this was a pain last week, trying to remember the stuff I wanted to put into the description.
Basically, the Dom does a bunch of has a series where he talks about the differences between the adaptation between a book and its movie, the differences between it and
one. Lost in Adaptation, or a smart title also. But yeah, he did I would say, a very good take on Death Note. What is important about both those videos I recommend that I put down is that they don't get too hung up on the general idea of an adaptation, because we often have the hardcore fans who just don't accept anything but the original, and a new adaptation is bad by default, and blah 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 blah, this kind of ignorant, stupid bullshit. No, both of them focused on this movie as its own entity. I believe the Don eventually went into a more direct comparison and said, yeah, those were the great things, they missed it out. But yeah, it's an amazingly bad movie. I personally watched it sober and still had a good time, but not because it was a great movie.
Such a tone deaf movie.
There is, there is one moment. I'm not going to spoil it directly, but there's one absolutely brilliant moment that was like for when I was sitting there like, oh god, no. Whoever has already seen the movie, the close to the end, the scene at the ferry wheel. I'm not saying more. If you have seen it, you know which scene I mean. If you will see it, you will instantly know which scene I mean. This scene was like so bad. I loved it. Oh.
The one positive thing I will give this movie is that Willem Dafoe was the best guy to pick for.
Yeah, but then again, the problem is the actors were not bad. I personally liked Elle. And how the actor did it, and how he played Elle and everything, but
Light was the worst thing in the movie. He was just. I know it's like watch it as your own entity, but just you have to keep some roots from the thing you're taking shit from.
As I said, both the videos go into. Especially the DOM starts out with going into, okay, what is necessary for an adaptation, or what can you do? And yeah, the idea of I just talked about this yesterday. Oh, so right, I did something else yesterday. I went with Berlin Brony Andy, an old friend of mine. We did a podcast on the DuckTales reboot. I guess I can put it down in the description. However, warning, it's in German. Wait, what? Kichi's thingy, I assume.
In the chat, it's a picture of you.
A picture of me. Ah!
I came up with the idea, and I am very proud to say that I came up with this idea.
No, I am not.
Yes, you are.
This is going to haunt me forever.
Hey, look. Just be glad that she went with the Trenderhoof one. I also said you could also make Zephyr Breeze look like ANY. They're both tall and blonde. But I had the feeling that if I did do that, you would actually not talk to me for like a few days because I know how much you don't like that character.
Anyways, yeah. It fails as an adaptation pretty horribly because it does not what an adaptation should do, like take enough from the original that it deserves to use the name, because that's the thing. It would not have been that bad if it wouldn't have been an adaptation, because they took the names, they took the characters, they took plot points, they took the fucking symbolic, like the writing and the Death Note as an object and everything. So yeah, they begged to be compared to the original. They were like, "Hey, look at us! We are taking from there. We are a reinterpretation of this thing." And obviously, then they fail even harder. But yeah, it's also not a good movie by its own standard. This was actually.
What's your other medias?
Then one you could probably could have seen coming. Ba-da!
Oh yeah, Invisaguns!
Yeah, Invisagun. Even so, careful with this game. If you play it too frequently, you might play it. You might overplay it for you. It's small doses. It's a small dose game.
Yuri put it best.
But especially when you play it too often, you start to play it too professional, and then it's not just silly fun running around and having fun. You start to play too thought through, too intense, to focus, and suddenly a party game turns into a competitive game, which is also not bad, but it kind of is. For a competitive game, it's too much on wackiness. But yeah, this game, I don't know if the Steam sale is still going. If it is still going, you can actually pick it up for $5 right now, or wait till the next Steam sale, whatever. I also we did play around, which was pretty fun. I put it up on my channel, uncut the entire session. It was pretty long, but I would recommend check it out maybe towards the end when Keyframe and Kichi both had so much salt in them. Ooh.
Well, I mean,
it got.
You were singing like a fucking Smurf on a little ball, just.
Yeah, and whipping the floor with you gals.
Oh, you love to wipe the floor with women. I apparently.
It was fun. So yeah, you can check this out for yourself. If it's down your alley, I can only recommend it. It's a very fun party game. I'm not entirely sure if and what happened yesterday. We played it as well, but I wasn't too focused on it. So.
I mean, one of the best parts about that game, about the gameplay of Invisiguns, is when you got Thea Nielsen banned from her computer because of that slave ANY drawing. Good
True
job,
story.
Maxie.
True story.
Yeah, this game is fun, but I recommend if people buy it, just go and get the Humble Bundle where you get like 4 copies because you need to play this with a friend.
Indeed. Oh well, and last but not least, my official media of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Also on Netflix, The Intern.
Never heard.
I never heard of it either. It just popped up on Netflix as recently added, and I was like, okay. And I was just in the mood for some harmless, nice little piece, a fluff piece. And so basically, the plot is that there is this old senior widower, played by Robert De Niro, who is basically. Out of boredom, he wants to do something. He's still mentally very fit, and just sitting at home and watching TV is not his thing. So he tried a lot of stuff, and eventually he comes across a flyer for senior internship. And he goes to a young startup, internet startup, with Anne Hathaway as a CEO. Like super modern, like basically clothing online stores thingy. So absolutely not his world whatsoever. But it's just a nice movie. It's just nice to watch.
It's pleasant.
Yeah, it's absolutely pleasant to watch, and you have this kind and lovable Robert De Niro who is playing this. This is kind of amazing that they make a big deal out of the fact that he is like a 70-year-old guy who still is very fit and with both foot planted in the world and is a very smart guy and everything. And Robert De Niro was 72 playing this role, so he literally is this still very fit and old guy. So when I was watching this, I was like, yeah, this guy is authentic. What he is playing is really, he is just this old. And he is, yeah, he still has his acting together and everything. I was like, being this fit with 70, if I can manage this, I'm not afraid anymore of becoming that old, because this is like what scares me about being this old, like that you use your capability to basically go around and do stuff and be part of stuff and whatnot. But yeah, on the other hand, yeah, we have Anne Hathaway, which is kind of funny to see if you are familiar with the movie Devil Wears Prada, where she is basically the assistant to the bitchy boss, and here she is now the boss, which is it kind of puts the entire thing full circle, because I believe Devil Wears Prada was my first Anne Hathaway movie, so it is kind of a fun thing on this level.
I'm not proud of the first Anne Hathaway movie.
But yeah, overall, I have to say, for this kind of fluff piece, it was smart written, it was nicely written, it had a few, it was a little bit critical on one end, but still held together a nice, worth your time story. So, yeah, and without any too super... Often Robert De Niro was just there and smiled and was just friendly without being the superhero or anything. So, yeah.
We need more pleasant movies that are written well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, yeah, it's a clear recommendation. If you want to have a nice fluff piece, please go ahead and watch it. If you have Netflix, then you can watch it. It doesn't even cost you anything. So, I don't know, 9 out of 10 would watch again.
Hooray! IGN, and yeah.
Yeah, whatever. And I believe those have been my media.
Wow, so cool. Well, I guess that means we can go and take care of this fucking backlog of questions.
I guess so.
Onwards and upwards. Kichi, I love this. Could not like this picture. I'm sorry. It fits. It fits way too well. Your colors fit on that character way too well.
Well, my color scheme is just that amazing. So
well, I mean,
I can't really deny that one. Oh well. So, questions. What does our backlog have to offer?
Well, let us see. Where we go, nobody knows.
Any
to
questions?
The backlog.
There I am. Scrolling like I've never scrolled before. Scrolling like it's hot. Scrolling like it's hot.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, here's a weird question.
Let's hear it.
From Enigma Prince, Enigma Royal Prince. Since most cartoons are focused on comedy these days, do you two think that it's destroying the industry as a whole? I mean, first of all, interesting given that we just today talked about BoJack Horseman, which is a cartoon that is not it still has a very big funny streak, but it has...
Qualify, if any kind of comedy you can qualify it as, it's dark comedy.
Oh yeah, very dark. And it is also not focused on it. Comedy is a big part of it, obviously, but yeah, it's more focused on this very nihilistic, cynical view on things.
Yeah.
But the question is, yeah, but first, I'm not sure if cartoons really are so focused on comedy nowadays. I'm not entirely sure if I can agree with the statement like that.
Okay, here's how I view it. The cartoons that are getting marketed a lot more are mostly comedy driven. When you actually look at the big picture of cartoons that are airing currently, if you take Netflix, Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, Disney, so on and so forth, there is a more diverse spectrum from action shows with stuff like Voltron and stuff to comedy with stuff like Teen Titans Go and Loud House. Not in the same quality category, just in genre.
Yes.
And then you have more story-driven dramatic shows like Steven Universe and some of the Adult Swim shows, and it goes on like that. However, what gets marketed to the audience, what gets released, and what gets the top billing on schedules are usually the comedy episodic shows because, well, it's easier for them to market that than something story-driven or something that is not inherently silly and comedic, because at the end of the day, these networks are businesses and they have to make sure that they meet their quota. And when they do that, they try to see what is the easiest thing to slap a picture onto a lunchbox of, to be blunt. It's just, I think because of that, people are less encouraged to make shows that are story driven, that are more based on character development and not comedy, because they know that they're going to probably get the shaft from a lot of the networks, unless you are something like Netflix, where you put all the episodes up at once and people can just watch at their own discretion. As someone who looks at industry trends, there is such a big rise in shows becoming story driven. However, with that, you notice that a lot of these shows have very sporadic air dates, or they are releasing everything in bombs, or the networks are not treating them with the respect that they should be getting. The last show that I remember that actually the network treated well, that is not a comedy-driven show, was Avatar. Mm. And then they treated Korra like shit. True.
So I guess the problem is less the focus on the comedy, but how the shows overall get treated by the networks. But because Enigma also just was like in the chat, he was thinking about stuff like Teen Titans Go. But what makes Teen Titans Go so infamous, besides basically destroying an absolutely amazing franchise, because original Teen Titans was pretty amazing, while Teen Titans Go is just this. This was basically got left after Teen Titans had a drunken night out and threw up in the toilet in the morning, and yeah, that's where Teen Titans Go was created. But yeah, besides this very, very figurative analogy, the problem, what makes Teen Titans Go so infamous, was also the ridiculous nonsense Cartoon Network was doing with the scheduling. One kind of going into the same direction you just said, that good story-driven shows get treated like crap, while the cheap, nonsensical bullshit gets literally streamed the entire day.
Which is so... The thing is that it's such a weird anomaly of time right now, because, let's face it, TV is kind of dying. At least the cable TV, not stream service-based things. Yeah. This is why more networks are moving towards streaming-based services. The interesting thing about it, though, is that, at least with the world of cartoons, we're seeing a rise in people making story-driven shows. It's just the networks are not used to those. Let's face it, even the cartoons that we've liked, because there's a lot of great cartoons that have come out of Nick and Disney and Cartoon Network, a lot of them, with some minor exceptions, have all been episodic shows. They're not used to shows being story-driven and drama-driven and being on this network outside of their adult blocks. So it's like they're not treating them with the respect, because they're still based in the marketing tactics of their previous incarnations. And, I mean, that's why more people... I talk to a lot of people that are in the animation industry or want to get into it. And every time I ask them, where do you want your show to go if you actually get your pilot greenlit? They're like, oh no, we're pitching it to Netflix or Verve or something like that. They don't want to go to the networks anymore.
Yeah, obviously, because the networks... Yeah, but so I guess to kind of go back to the original question, does it destroy the industry? No, I would say the industry is currently actually in a high when it comes to cartoons and diversity. However, it is destroying certain networks who can't handle the current time. Because
the industry is moving faster than the networks that are housing their creations.
Indeed. So basically, Cartoon Network is currently, if it doesn't get its shit together, imploding under its own silliness and focus on TTG and stuff like this. But on the other hand, if you go on Netflix, half or a quarter or whatever of all Netflix original shows are currently cartoons. And those cartoons are super diverse. They are not focused on comedy at all. they have everything there, like the aforementioned Voltron, action shows like Castlevania, comedy obviously as well. It's a very wide spectrum, so I don't see the industry as a whole being getting destroyed by some trends. No, it's single networks. It's single networks who do this focusing thing you brought up and who, yes, are destroying themselves.
Yeah, I mean, my last point in it is that you see that we are in a time where people who watched the cartoons prior to us, and not just like old 67 morning, we're getting to a point of the kids who grew up with Spielberg and also the kids who grew up with the original cartoons. That's amazing. The original that grew up with like the cartoons, so like Dexter's Lab, Powerpuff Girls, all this stuff. They are getting to that time where they are graduating colleges, and they're, those CalArt kids going into the industry, or there's people who started as interns and started doing smaller work on different shows that are getting these big things now. And because they were growing up around these kind of new sensations, and they also saw them fucking die, they're like, no, we want to do something new and diverse. People want to make something different. They want to be the new age. But the problem is with businesses, like most channel networks, they don't care. I mean, there's people in those parts of the industries that do, mind you, but their bottom line doesn't care about diversity. Their bottom line cares about them getting the ratings. And it's just like, when it gets to that point, that one of the shows that put you back on the map is having their series finale, and you celebrate it by having a Teen Titans Go marathon before their series finale, you fucked up. And that's also a big fuck up too.
Yeah, so somebody brought it up in the chat earlier, and then somebody posted the link. I don't know the backstory to it, but oh my god, this is...
Her name is Bliss. At least they didn't name her Bunny. That would have gotten me mad if her name was Bunny.
It doesn't even look good, the design. The color, the bright turquoise hair with the darkest...
and her legs are super long.
Yeah,
I've seen more than one picture of her. It's like, why are you really tall? Yeah. And also, why are you the only Powerpuff Girl with hips?
But yeah, she really looks like a Tumblr reject.
It does. But that was actually a really good question. We don't get actual thinky questions like that. Thank you, Prince.
Well, I guess then... I was just like, let's go for a not thinky question. What has Chuggle left us? But there are only panel questions. I guess...
Oh yeah, because we have some of our backlog was from BronyCon. Someone asked you specifically, out of Firebrand, Sketchy the Changeling, and Dr. Wolf, who would you make out with and why?
Firebrand,
Sketchy,
and
Dr. Wolf.
Well, I guess we can go through this backwards by choosing by what's it called, elimination. Mm-hmm. Dr. Wolf has just this aura, this radiating aura of no. I don't know when you would think about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's basically out because the idea of him being part of those kind of unconventional activities while he is married and whatnot. It doesn't work.
Okay. So that leaves Sketchy and Firebrand.
I mean, at the end of the day, you could probably make the same argument about Josh, given that he is also a very religious person, but on the other hand, he doesn't have this aura around him. So, I guess maybe Firebrand, because then you could actually have some fiery making out. With Sketchy, I always have the feeling that he is too much of a quiet person. I don't really.
I mean, if a person's quiet, but you guys are making out, you guys aren't going to be talking during it, so what does it matter?
No, but in personality-wise, you don't want to go to bed with sleeping medicine, so...
But this is just about making out. That doesn't mean you're going to fuck them.
No, but it's making out is a little brother of sex, so...
Okay, fine. Good question, Samantha. Thank you for that. We learned how A&Y picks his partners now.
By elimination.
By elimination. Or by default, depending on the situation. Okay. Okay, how about this one from Chuggle? What is the worst and best jobs you've ever had?
Ooh, I know a worst job. Ooh.
You go ahead, I have to think.
Oh, my worst job. I can pretty much... at first glance, it maybe doesn't even seem so bad, but given what it did to me, yes, it was bad. It was back in college. I actually took on a assumably easy job, like I'm not sure if there is a term for it, when you as a student work for a professor and help them out a few hours a week.
You're a teacher's assistant.
Okay, teacher's assistant apparently. So yeah, I made teacher's assistant for one of the horror professors, where everybody was like, oh, she's so difficult as a person. I'm like, I'm a sociopath. Or I have sociopathic tendencies. I can work with her. And on the one hand, I have to say, yes, I could actually work with her, and I didn't have too much problem with her personality on the base level. However, this person was crazy. Like, she was living in her own world, where she was the absolute rock star of this entire faculty. There was already this coordinator for the entire Studiengang. I actually need to check this word because line of study, I guess. Studiengang. University course, study pass. Okay, I go with study pass. So this is there was a coordinator for this entire study pass, and basically he was her lapdog. He needed to do her copying and whatnot. She was completely taking his entire time for herself already. So
she sounds lovely.
Yeah, this kind of person. She was like, but herself super badly coordinated. She was like super overworked all the time, but because of a lack of organization. Amazing stuff like, oh no, I'm against smartphones. I don't have a smartphone. Ling, ling, ling. Yeah, that's different. This is for my daughter. By the way, I need to go out of the class now. Yep, this kind of hypocrisy through and through.
I cringed internally.
Taking, being completely out of touch with reality, and completely out of for that self-glorification. You now see she was a teacher of mine. Explains a lot. But yes, the thing was that she didn't know any boundaries. So she was demanding a lot more time than the, 20 hours a week I actually should do, to the point where I started to have a very detailed list of how much time I did what for her in a big document, so I could be like, okay, I'm done. Here is my last time. I already worked this much, because I needed basically to keep book of it in order to keep her from completely absorbing me. And she had like tasks, like at one point for some charity thingy, a bicycle needed to be brought to the other end of the city, and she was like, here, come to my office, okay, here's this bike, bring this to this address, like, okay.
What?
Yeah. And I reached the point where whenever I got an email, and on my Mac, on my laptop back in the day, when I got an email, I don't want to call it an anxiety attack, but I was like afraid looking at my emails. I was under such a stress level, I was afraid of checking my emails because there might be another one from her.
Christ,
to
man.
this degree. So yeah, this was my worst job by far. The only good thing I can say about it is like at the end, because I had this list of the work time I still needed to do, and I was like, okay, I'm done. I already have pre-worked the following month or something. I went to her and was like, here, professor, the thing is like, I feel that sadly I cannot arrange my work for you and the studies, and I don't want to let one of those suffer, so I'm afraid I cannot prolong my contract with you. Like, super diplomatic and shit. And
okay.
Well, then my time ran out, and I was like, oh yeah, I told you months ago my time is out, I'm not prolonging. Yeah, okay, it's fine. If you just can come in as a weekend and help the coordinator to build up this entire computer lab. No, my time is over. I'm not working for you anymore. Yeah, well, here, yeah, but what are we supposed to do? You have, somebody needs to build up this lab. I mean, at the end of the day, I felt kind of bad. The study path coordinator basically did it all by himself then, spent this entire time there. But I was like, no, sorry, I have other plans. I mean, I made the plan for the weekend after I told her I have other plans, so I actually have other plans. But no, I was like, not happening. So the problem is, she was one of my professors. I had a course with her, and I had to have a course for the next few years because she had one of the core courses. So after there was the hiatus, and after I came back, she was like super ice cold, like ice queen, barely looking at me, not saying hello, not saying anything. However, I was one of her A students before. I still was one of her A students after. So after a few weeks, she realized, and me just being like a very eager student in her class, one of the very few eager students, because once again, I didn't have the big problems with her personality other people had. So yeah, you basically saw her having this inner battle, and eventually she warmed up to me again and let this bygones be bygones. But you could really see, like, in the first few weeks after the hiatus, she was really like personal vendetta. But yeah, I powered through it. I stayed an A-class student, and yeah, so eventually she started liking me again as a student. We never talked about my work relationship with her ever again.
Great.
But yeah, I had stress. But I was afraid of checking fucking emails. I don't have this today, and I get hundreds of emails a day at work. But back then, because there was no limit. It could happen whenever. It could happen late in the evening. It was like, I need this for 8 a.m. tomorrow. It was during the weekend. During the weekend, projects, whatever, private life didn't matter. Basically, I mentioned it before, devil wears Prada, but as a side job while studying. Best work.
While you think about it, I could say my worst job.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay, so here's my thing. I don't have a lot of my jobs are creative-based contract jobs, and I got them after I moved away from Indiana. But I did have a couple. But all my jobs then were actually not completely art-related. They were taking care of people. Because I was at a time an assistant. I'm going to use quotation marks because I didn't have the certification for it, but this was jobs that I did. I worked at a nursing home and I worked at a special ed class at my school. And the worst one, though, was that nursing home. And keep in mind, I like the people in the nursing home just fine. Like the residents themselves, they were all really sweet, really nice old people. They constantly said I reminded them of their granddaughters, which is like, I don't know half of you people. But the employees there were I hated these people. So, like, I think I told you this story. I was texting you during this. I was going there because I was an events coordinator. I basically helped with having like different programs and activities that the old people can do. Perfectly fine. And then I helped out with dinner service. So I walked in there and I'm dressed all nicely and everything. Like I'm actually wearing clothes that are better than this. And I'm talking to the supervisor lady. And we're talking, we're having a good time, and she's like, "Oh, you're Bernie's kid," because my mom worked there. And I'm like, yeah, I'm Bernie's kid and all that stuff. And she's like, "Oh, that's just lovely." She looks down at my stomach. She's like, "When are you expecting?" And I'm like, I'm sick. I'm 17 and I'm not pregnant. And the thing was, this was before my disorder, so I'm just like, Christ, I'm not that. And I could see the look on her face when I was like, I'm not pregnant. She just had this look of everything went sucked back in, and she's like, well, I meant, I asked because you look early along, but you don't look fat, and I'm just like, I was starting to get actually kind of mad. I not so covertly pulled back the shirt because it's one of those flowy blouses, and to show there's nothing there, it's just the fabric. And she's just kind of like, "Okay, so you're just going to go over to that cart over there and then push everything out for the people. Is that okay?" And I'm just like, perfectly fine. I still worked there for like 4 months, mind you. She never talked to me again, though. I hated that. But there was the nurses there that were like the aides that actually like pushed the people in from their rooms to the dining room area where we did the activities. I can never hate people more than I hate those people. Because these people, like, this is me legitimately angry at these people. They hated every resident there. And I'm just like, they will push them and then keep them in the hallway to go talk to another person just as, "Oh, hi, Tiffany, how are you? Oh, hi, Jade, blah, 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 blah." And leave this person who can't walk, so they need a wheelchair, in the middle of the hallway. And it's like, why do you go into this profession if you don't give a shit about people, you know? I've had to do a lot of nurse work for people. That, I would say, is my worst job, simply because I couldn't stand the people I worked with. The cooks were cool, though. They gave me free food. Yeah, that was my worst job. Did you figure out what your best job is, or?
I guess I didn't really have one job. It was like so fantastic. I guess I would.
One you enjoyed?
Yeah, no, I had a lot. I enjoyed most of my jobs for what they were. My time at the student council, I guess, whatever it's called in English, was pretty fun. I was basically there as a media guy. I had my civil duty thingy when I was not going to the military, but the other thing, the civil thing, was very interesting. But yeah, at the end of the day, I still would say probably my current job, or at least the company. Right now, it's a little bit with the big project and everything. There's a little bit of a burnout, but especially in the earlier time when I was there, like my first or second year at the company. Once again, basically the opposite of your story. The atmosphere with the colleagues and stuff is just that good. and I couldn't imagine at this point. It's really the work I do is not the super fulfilling it's not like back in my study days when I was working more time on YouTube and YouTubing was a little bit my side job. And you spent more time editing and had those regular videos coming out, and it was a great feeling like, yeah, I produced something amazing. This is not my job right now. It's more like mundane stuff. But the working environment in general is like it's a job I like when it comes to my tasks and stuff, which I like, not love, but also don't dislike. So a solid liking is basically a realistic goal for having a job, and in a company that's fun. So yeah. There you go.
I would say my best job is a tie between two jobs. One is actually my first job, and the other one is another one. The first one I'll talk about. The school that I was in for a majority of my time in Indiana was, because we lived in a small town, it was just one gigantic building that had kindergarten all the way to your last year of high school. So everyone was there. And with that, there was one big special ed class, and you would have people from, I guess 6th grade, 7th grade, so like 10-year-olds, all the way to people that would be high school age, all on varying levels of the spectrum. Let's put it like that. And one thing that I somehow got into doing, I don't know how it happened. It wasn't like it was an apply yourself job kind of thing. I remember. One thing in my chemistry class that we did is that for the kids in the special ed class, we had to do presentations to them of how different chemical reactions work. And I loved doing it. And I was talking to the teachers for the special ed class, being like, these kids are so nice. And she was saying, like, they really enjoyed all this. They really appreciate it. And I'm like, it would be cool we worked something out. Like, we were talking through it. And I did a project with them where every lunch period, so about an hour every day for 3 or 4 months, I would go and I would teach the kids how to make stories. And we were actually we had the kids in group. I had to come up with a syllabus for all this stuff. I never want to be a teacher, but that was the one time where I enjoyed being a teacher. Second. But I taught them how a 3-act structure worked and making characters and designing them. And we made books and stories about these different characters that the kids came up with. And I helped write the stories down because, well, who's the person that knows how to write? And, they designed the characters and I helped render out the designs to be more of a professional look. It was the greatest feeling that I ever felt, because sitting down with the kids and hearing their ideas and stories and stuff, it was actually like a cool experience. This is why everyone's like, oh, why do you care so much about what kids think? They're just kids. It's just a kids movie, kids show. Sitting down with the kids and actually hearing their ideas and talking to them and just one-on-one, it was a lot more fulfilling, and it makes you actually think about how they think. And it was really cool. There's no real way I can articulate the feeling that whole project made me feel, but I will say, well, that's one of my most proudest achievements, was actually helping these kids. And then I got back in contact with the special ed teacher at that school a few months ago. And I was asking about them. How is all these people doing? And some of them actually are now more into English classes and art classes because they want to make stories. And that was because of that program.
Huh. What do you know?
That actually made me choke up. I'm like, wow, they actually got inspired by this silly little program. And it was a great feeling. My other favorite job was actually my first job. There was an art store that was in my town, which in Hodunk, Hickville, known as Indiana, having an art store is kind of amazing. And I got this job by complete accident. I was trying to sell something for my school there to the owners, and then I had my sketchbook with me because they were like, okay, let me go into the back and I will come out, and because they needed to get their checkbook. So I was sitting there and I was drawing in my sketchbook, and they were like, wow, you draw and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I draw and I paint. I don't do it that, I'm usually just doing it in school and stuff. And they kind of were like, would you like free lessons? And so what happened, it went from them giving me free art lessons to I would be there the whole day and I would be helping like clean paintbrushes, and eventually they had art classes there for people, and I would be teaching the kids how to do different painting techniques with acrylic paint. And how they paid me was that they gave me all my art supplies for like 2 years. And when that place eventually closed down, the woman left. She gave me this trunk of paint and brushes and jars and stuff, and she was like, this is for you. Don't scrutinize the chances that you get. It's one of the most inspiring things that someone has ever said to me. Sounds like it's from a movie, probably is. But she was like, take these, use up all of it. And when you use up all of it, make sure to get more, because you have a lot of potential. And if you don't use that potential, you're just as good as a dried up paintbrush. Well, I mean, I guess she had a point there, because look where we are now. But those are my two favorite jobs that I've ever done in my life.
Great.
Well, I like so much more movie-like than a lot of people, and I don't know how to feel about it.
One word comes to mind.
What?
It was pretty awkward.